an email saying just providing customer service, providing value to the customer. We said that Amazon's most important thing is customer service. So let's do that first. And then later we can go back in and ask for a review in a separate email. So that would be my advice as far as that goes. But yes, you are opening yourself up a little bit more. However, like I was saying earlier, in my experience, people don't often go online just to leave a positive review. More often than not, it's only when they have a negative experience, then they make the effort to go on to leave a review without being prompted.
Yeah, and I think one of the other big issues is that, it's not like super simple to go, for an end user. I mean, I know my way around Amazon. Obviously, most Amazon sellers do, but as a user, I mean, it's not real easy just to go and leave a review.
Totally.
There's several steps to get there unless you're giving someone explicit instructions. So, a lot of times you just need to prompt people, and you're going to get those reviews.
Exactly. And so, like I said, that's kind of my major. That's my major contribution there would be one, don't annoy the customer with the requests. So I kind of have a couple slides about this a little bit later, but don't send an email 7 or 8 times, right? Like you only want to send a couple emails. I generally recommend 2 to 3 emails, and even sometimes not even that, depending on the price point and the need of the product.
Right. We send 1. I mean, because I know a lot of people and a lot of our clients send more, but
yeah.
For me personally, I hate getting those emails so much. It aggravates me. And, I feel like I would leave a negative review if I didn't, like every time I got one of those emails, if it wasn't for the fact that, I know how negatively it affects somebody with a negative email. I mean, most people have seen the screenshots on my phone, and I have, like, right now I have 160,000 unread emails.
Wow.
Like, I have like 15 mailboxes. I'm like to the point I really hate email, and when that adds to that, especially, I would suggest as a user, because I buy stuff, like every day. I'm so busy, I don't have time. I become like the perfect Prime user because Amazon has made me so busy that I don't have time to go out there, and like be looking for stuff and going to Walgreens and, searching for, a bottle of pills or something. If I need something, I go on Amazon and buy it. So I literally buy stuff almost every single day. I'd probably buy 500 or 600, orders a year on Amazon. So, I'm like the perfect Prime user because, that's what they want. They want people to buy for convenience and buy for all that. So, the biggest issue as a user for me, and hopefully some people can translate this into, how they set up their accounts if they're not already using feedback software, then, I really don't like the people who come to me, send me an email like 5 minutes after I got it, say, hey, we seen you got your product, are you happy with it? And, I usually haven't even opened the box yet, or, they get a notification that's out. I'm not sure how it works, but, like it's a notification that's out for delivery or it's been delivered or whatever it is. And then they're automatically sending an email.
Right. Exactly.
Give people a little bit of time to, to open the box, if you got it an hour ago, you're not ready to leave a review. Of course, you don't want to send something to people a month later. They're going to forget they even bought it. But I mean, those kind of things bother me as a user. So, if a seller and I, understand how it works, those people who don't are, just going to lose their mind. And that's what happens when they do. I mean, because we get angry emails all the time, about things that, really aren't part of our, aren't in our control. And most sellers, I would assume, would too, maybe at a smaller scale. But, you have, the whole point is you have to think about, what the buyer is going to be thinking when you do this. Don't send somebody 5 emails, because, you're trying to get more reviews, and just because, hey, maybe you're a new seller, maybe you only sell 100 items, a month or a week or whatever it is. And, you really need to get, a higher percentage. And the more you are, the more feedback you really need for it to make sense. When you have thousands of feedback, who cares if, you're getting, 0.5% or 1% that's leaving it for you. But when you're new, it's really important. But remember not to, spam people, your available people.
Right. My biggest advice is just what you're saying. Just remember there are humans on the other end of the interaction, and that the kind of the rule of would I want to receive this many emails for this product? I once anecdotally received 7 emails, I think it was, for a $10 cell phone case that I bought on Amazon. And I was like, this is just ridiculous. And so I was like, you're going to, email me 7 times for this $10 phone case, and I understand because of, working, with sellers all day. But, it was just a little ridiculous from the consumer point of view, where it's like, okay, knowing what I know, this is like so ridiculous. So yeah, just remember that there are other human beings on the other end. And I think you'll be okay. Just like Shawn was saying. So are there any questions about that before we kind of move on, Shawn or Valerie? I can't really see it with the way I have my screen set up.
No, I kind of put all the questions into what I said. So
Awesome, thank you.
I think we're good so far.
Awesome, I'm going to keep on moving then. Okay, so what we see here? I lost my train of thought. Okay, so increase the number of responses. So generally, what we see with FeedbackGenius users is a response rate of 4 to 7%. We generally tell people it can double. Of course, 0.5 to 3% normally, without asking, to 4 to 7% once you start requesting. Now, some of those, like Shawn touched on earlier, may be negative, but if you're asking the right, maybe putting customer service first as the first priority, you'll be okay. So, how do you effectively ask is my first question. So once you've decided that you want to use a messaging software sometime, or even if you're just sitting manually at first, how do you effectively ask? Lead with customer service, right? Just like what we were saying earlier. Remember, there's another human on the other end of this transaction. You're not just sending emails to the internet, but put that first. That's what Amazon values. That's what you should value. And so I often advise, send that first email. Don't even make a request. Just first provide customer service, provide value. And that's the second thing, be personal, right? Oftentimes, sellers try to sell themselves as some big corporation, some big business entity, and then, people don't care about big business entities, right? Most of the time, people don't even realize that it's a third party selling on Amazon, right? So most people think that when they buy anything, absolutely anything off Amazon, it's from Amazon directly. So, being personal in your email, saying, hey, we're people just like you. We want to, provide customer service to you. My name's James. I always tell people, even if you don't feel comfortable putting your own personal name at the bottom of the email, signing it, always to sign it with a real person's name. Even if it's just someone you've made up, even if you're saying, this is Jenny with the customer service team, just put something there. Not that you need to be dishonest, but, some people aren't comfortable with their name being out there. So being personal is important as well. And then reignite excitement about the purchase. Say, if you decide to, when you email them, say, get them excited about that. They were obviously purchased your product for a reason, right? And this doesn't work for everything, right? Maybe you have a really mundane product, but if you're selling something that's a lifestyle or anything like that, you say, hey, look, we're so excited that you got your product. Let us know what you think. Get them jazzed about the product again. I think that's very important. And then add value. Do you have instructions that go with your product? Do you have anything like that that's encased in the packaging already? If so, scan it, send it to them in an email as well, provide value. That way, when you email them in the subject line, you can say, hey, your instructions are included. Or if you can provide value with like, hey, 7 things you never thought to do with this product in your subject line, then you can provide value in that way. And oftentimes people are more likely to open emails like that than they would be just, please let us know what you think as an email. And then after you do those things, then you can make the request. So take one of those approaches and then make the request. And that's kind of the best uses there. And I would say, don't be afraid to experiment. Maybe try something out for a little while. If it's working for you, keep it. And then if not, just change it. Like, don't be afraid to experiment. Some of the best ideas you can have are things you never think would work. Shawn, do we have any questions about that before, I kind of moved through those pretty quickly, but.
Not really. I did have one thing as far as, we're not really doing what you mentioned. So is there a way to break down, like by SKUs or ASINs, what emails go to what people?
Yeah, so in FeedbackGenius, you can totally break down by ASIN or by SKU which products or which emails you want to go to which people. And so if you have a family of SKUs that you want to send a sequence of emails to, then you can send it to a whole family of SKUs or individual SKUs, or you can make a list of, even if it's not a family, you can make a list of ASINs. And so that's pretty cool, I think. And that way you can build in instructions for each of your individual products rather than just having one kind of more generic email.
Right. Yeah. So that sounds awesome. That's an idea that I haven't even thought of. So, yeah. So, okay. So let's move on.
All righty. Let's see here. So when to effectively make the request, when to effectively ask. And so my biggest question is, when is the customer most delighted? This is for feedback, first of all. So if you're asking for seller feedback, the question you need to ask yourself is, when is the customer most delighted with your service? Remember that feedback is rating, the timeliness of your delivery, the accuracy of the order, all of those things. And so if you're asking just for seller feedback, when is the customer most delighted with your service? Probably pretty quickly after it's delivered. As Shawn was saying, you probably don't want to ask immediately, but give them a minute to open up the product, see that everything's there, and you can send a day after delivered, 2 days after delivered, something like that while it's still in their mind. I wouldn't ask for seller feedback 2 weeks after the product's been delivered because oftentimes they wouldn't understand that you're asking about the timeliness of the delivery, or if they do understand, they won't remember, most likely. And so that's my biggest tip when asking for seller feedback. When you look at product reviews, I ask, when is the customer most delighted with the product? And this is something that you have to ask, again, from product to product. So my example I like to give is if you're selling something like a Batman action figure, right? It's my go-to example. You probably want to ask for the review pretty quickly after it's delivered, a couple days after it's delivered, because little Timmy's not going to be any happier with his Batman action figure than when he opens it up and when he's playing with it for the first couple days. If you ask 2 weeks in, little Timmy might have broken Batman's arm, or his cape might be torn off, or he might have lost it already. So he's not going to be as happy with it anymore. But if you're selling something like a 30-day cleanse, you don't want to ask a week in because they're pretty miserable. So you have to kind of think about when you're making the request.
Yeah. So you really want to know I mean, really, you want to ask when the product is at its best.
Exactly.
Not necessarily just even thinking about it. It's, you really need to look into, each product. If it's something you're selling a lot of, you're going to have a generic timetable, for most things, which should be a couple days. But you need to look into, when the product is going to be at its absolute best. If it's at its best, before they open the package, or, if it's at its best, after results are taking place, if it's a, health or beauty product, maybe 3 days aren't the best time to ask about that product because it hasn't really done anything yet.
Yeah, exactly. That's just it. And so, and some people sell a product that, is maybe only going to be used once or twice, but maybe takes a customer a couple days to use. They're not going to use it right out of the box as soon as they get it. And so the kind of questions that I like to ask are average time. What do you think the average time to them first using your product is? And then exactly what you were saying, when's your product at your best? When are they most delighted with using your product? And that kind of determines when you want to ask for your
Awesome. So
again, we kind of touched on this a little bit earlier, but how many times should I email a customer? So let's just look at some raw numbers first. HubSpot, who is a huge marketing firm, they do a lot of B2B and B2C emails that you see that aren't on Amazon. They studied millions and millions and millions of emails to see the open rates on them. So what they found was the first time you send an unsolicited email to someone, they have a 67% chance of opening it. After that, the second email you send them, if they haven't opened the first and they've not solicited email, it drops to 23%. After that, don't even bother because it drops to below a 2% chance of someone opening the email. So what does that tell you? One email's great, 2 emails is great as well, but chances are if they haven't opened one of your first 2 emails, they're never going to open an email. So just what we were saying earlier, don't send 7 emails on a $10 item, and I make money from people sending emails. So if I'm telling you not to, don't do it. So I would say 1 to 3 at most, generally stick to 2. I think it's kind of the sweet spot there for sending emails.
So that means you got to get it right the first time.
Exactly. So I said, don't blow your chance. And so, so that's really important. And then I've just kind of got a couple other jumping off topics for us. That's kind of the majority of the presentation that I had. I was kind of keeping it short so we could have a lot of time for question and answers. So a couple recent changes. One, Amazon allows shoppers to opt out of emails. So there's been some recent changes where, excuse me, Amazon now allows shoppers to opt out of emails, unsolicited emails from sellers. And this is a great thing. So there's a blog post down there that I've linked to in this. And I don't know, Shawn, are we going to make my slides available to everyone?
We can, if you like. We can email it to all the everyone who registered. So
yeah, I'd be happy to do that. That way they can kind of get the full info here.
And we'll send out all these links to the blog posts, the discounts, awesome, and everything. So you don't have to worry about writing all this down right now or saving it.
No, totally. And so, this is a great thing for sellers. Amazon allowing shoppers to opt out is so good for sellers. And some people don't quite get that at first, but it's great because they're saying, hey, if you're not going to be happy with any of our sellers and don't want anyone contacting you, just sign here. And then that eliminates so many problem cases for sellers who, just get emails or bad reviews or negative feedback just because people aren't happy, which is pretty darn great that we're kind of getting those people out of the way up front. I think at least. And so we have a whole
great. A lot of people were I guess, losing their minds about it because they were getting all those emails that people had opted out. But you can continue to send to them. They just don't get it. And Amazon, just sends a notice. But I mean, really, who cares? You're not getting in trouble for it.
Exactly. And so we have in that blog post, we have instructions on how to auto resolve those emails and then add those buyers to your blacklist so that you don't keep wasting your FeedbackGenius messages on them, and that you can just like auto resolve them in your emails, and they don't even populate your emails anymore. So that's all in that blog post right there. And that's kind of the first topic. So I don't know, people can kind of write in some questions about that, if there's any questions about that. And then the second topic would be how to avoid review manipulation when emailing. And so this is kind of another hot topic in the last couple months. A couple people may have been suspended for review manipulation while for messages they sent to customers. We have a whole write-up on what happened there, and that's in that blog post right there. But the gist of this comes down to don't only exclusively ask for positive reviews, right? So don't say only leave this message, only leave a review if you have something positive to say, and then don't give review suggestions. So don't say, hey, here's the exact review I want you to give, or hey, why don't you talk about how much you love this feature of the product when you request the review. So instead, say, hey, we'd love to hear your thoughts on the product.
Definitely. But I mean, that's kind of common sense all along. It's just people are getting in trouble for it now. You can't coach people through feedback.
Exactly. It wasn't something that, from our understanding of it wasn't something that was like widespread. It was just a couple sellers who were very blatantly going against the spirit and the law of what Amazon kind of said you could do. And so those were the people who had issues there. Excuse me. So yeah, those were kind of all the hot topics there as far as that goes. I don't know if we have any questions, but I'd be happy to field any of those, or if you guys have any questions.
I don't think so. Kelly, did you? Valerie, did you have any questions? Or did you come up with anything?
No, there were no questions on my.
No more questions. Okay, awesome. Right. So I just want to. Okay, so I just want to reiterate about that. No matter how you're requesting feedback, don't try and coach people through, only leave positive feedback, only do it this way. Don't give them, don't give them feedback. Don't even give them feedback to leave. Don't say, would you please leave this feedback for me? That's all against the rules, and it's going to get you suspended. And it got people suspended in the past, but it really wasn't part of like the Amazon written rules. Now it's part of the written rules. So I don't know how many people have gotten suspended since, but I know people got suspended in the past because they were just so blatant about it.
Yeah, exactly. And we at Seller Labs, we err very conservatively on the Amazon's rules, but that's it exactly. I wouldn't even try in any regards, even to help guide through that process at all. Just say, hey, here's the link. Let us know what you think, stuff like that. And we have templates in FeedbackGenius available for review requests, so you can kind of see what that looks like without trying to influence them in any way.
Awesome. All right, so can you go over the deal for signing up for FeedbackGenius again?
Yeah, totally. So you get a 60-day extended trial. So normally we offer 30 days for free. Send as many messages, kind of, excuse me, get a full use of the program. But instead, for you guys, we're extending it to 60 days. And then you can you get 500 extra messages that never expire. So even if you go down to the 100 messages plan, when you go over those 100 messages, if you have more messages to send that month, we'll keep sending them up to 500 messages, and those will never expire on your account. So think of it as like anytime minutes. And I know that might date me a little bit for if anytime minutes are even still a thing, but that's kind of the idea there with messages.
Right. You said up to 500. You mean it's 500 above whatever plan you get?
Yes.
Okay. So let's talk about what the actual plans are. So there is a free plan, right? And that's good forever.
Yes, sir. So you can.
So this trial is if you want to do any of the paid plans. So the paid plan, the free plan, you usually get 25. You can do 25 messages, and it don't matter whatever level you're at. It's still going to, no matter how much you sell a month, you're still going to get 25 for free. So there's really forever. So there's no reason, not to just go get a free account and configure your messages, and you're going to at least start to get a couple emails. So you're going to get, at least a couple feedback. I think you said 4 to 7% is the average. So if you're sending 25 messages, that's probably only 1 extra feedback, 1 to 2 extra feedbacks you're going to get a month.
It's actually 100 on the free plan. So that's 100 messages. So that's maybe 4 to 7 more.
Oh, okay. So you get 100. I'm sorry. I thought you said it was 25 on the free plan.
No worries.
I think that's what it used to be when I signed up. A long time ago. But okay, so you get 100. So you're going to get 4 to 7 if you're selling 100 a month. Hopefully, everybody's selling at least 100 products. But if you can get 5 free, 5 extra feedback a month, no matter what level you're at, a lot of people, may get 1 feedback a month. It's without it, it's very, getting feedback is very, seldom, it seems, for the newer sellers, especially when they're just launched. So after the 100 level, what's the next level that somebody can get? Like what's the cheapest thing that you actually pay for?
Yeah. So the next level is $20 a month, and that gets you 1,000 messages.
Okay. So you're going to get an extra 500 on that. So you would get 1,500 messages.
So the 500 extra messages are just like a one-time, like extra in case you roll over and use all your messages. Think of it as like anytime minutes. So like if you run over your 1,000 monthly messages and like need to send like 10 extra, then we'll send those, and then that'll be $490 the next time. And so that's just kind of like a reserve. Is kind of think of it that
Okay,
way.
I see what you meant by that. Anytime, right? So. Okay, so you're just going to add an extra 500 messages to the account. And that's only going to hit if you use up all your messages.
Yes, sir.
And you get a 60-day free trial. So if you sign up, you're going to get, is that on any plan that they sign up for?
Yes, sir. Including
the
free plan. They decide to go back to the free plan at the end of it, they'll get 60 days, as many messages as they can send.
Okay, so you're going to get, so the trial is really not a specific paid level. You're going to be able to try, send as many messages as you want. If you want to try start out and try sending 5 emails to somebody and see how it works, either it don't work, and then you can, scale it back to 1 or 2 per listing. You can try that out. So what normally happens when somebody, let's say they sign up for the $20 1,000 a month plan and there's no extra messages, and you send all your messages in the month, do they just not send them, or how does that work? Some services bump it up to like a higher cost or something like that. So,
No,
what actually happens?
So if you don't have any extra messages, we'll stop sending at about that 1,000 message mark. So we don't necessarily stop it right at 1,000. Sometimes it rolls over a little bit, but we'll just stop sending messages for the month until the next payment cycle comes around, unless you choose to upgrade or add another extra message package.
Okay, so it's not going to automatically charge you a higher rate when you run out. None of those issues. So wherever you're at is where you're going to stay at. No hidden charges. No,
Exactly.
I sent 5,000 messages. I'm going to, now owe $200 this month.
We don't want any of that kind of stuff. We like being very upfront with the price on everything, and working with sellers and their trust. So that's kind of the idea there.
Okay, awesome. So I got another question. Sorry about the trial. Let me word this right. So if somebody gets the extended trial, does it since it's not linked to a certain plan, is it going to then automatically feed into a specific plan, or they just get notice when it's over and they have to select a plan? They want to know if they're going to get charged automatically, basically.
Right. So unless they choose a plan beforehand, so there's no credit card required upon account creation.
Okay.
So if they don't put in a credit card and they don't select a plan at the beginning, they will not get charged. If you decide a couple weeks in that you want to put in your card and choose a plan, then we give email notifications that hey, you've got 15 days left on your trial. Hey, you've got a week left on your trial. Hey, it's ending today. Tomorrow. We give you a heads up if you have selected a plan and inserted a card.
Awesome. Sounds great. So there's really no reason not to do this. So you can get, basically, if you sign up at this link, you're going to get a 60-day trial. You can send as many messages as you want, and you don't have to give a credit card. And then when you're done, you can just drop it back down to the free plan, get 100 messages a month, and you'll never have paid a penny. So, I think it's a win-win situation across the board. It's not going to cost you anything to do, and you can try this out. And if it doesn't work for your plan, you can your business model, you can always just bump it down to the free version and continue to use it forever. Just only sending out 100 messages. And
Shawn, if I can just make one more note, our customer service is some of the best customer service. I would contend definitely in this industry, but our customer service just kills it. We're all local. All of our whole customer support team is in the United States. They answer the phone business hours, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They respond to all emails within 24 hours. So if you kind of get in this and you don't know what you're doing, or you have questions and are having issues, you can reach out and actually get a real human being on the phone or by email. And so I would say don't hesitate to reach out if anyone has any issues, if they decide to take us up on this, because our customer support team is world-class in my opinion.
Awesome. Sounds great. All right. Well, thanks, Tyler, for joining us, and I'm sure Tyler will be sending us a copy of these slides if you want to go over them, we'll be emailing out all the links within the next couple days. I'm traveling, so I'm sure Valerie will get all that together for me, and we'll get an email out to everyone who registered. If not, we'll probably post the replay. If you didn't register, we'll post the replay into all of our groups, so people can get that as well. And this link isn't going to expire anytime soon. I expect that people will be able to get this for a while. Okay, so we'll send that out to everybody. No real quick expiration date.
Your volume was off there, Tyler, for a second, so I'm not sure what you just said.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah,
we
I can
can
hear
now.
you.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. No, this is an ongoing link, so it's good indefinitely.
Great.
Awesome. All right, so we'll get that out to everybody. Thanks, Tyler, for coming. And any other questions about Feedback Genius, just shoot me a message, and we'll make sure that they get resolved for you. Thanks a lot.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.